So, what's really the best way to play and enjoy flight simulations on a PC? Mouse and keyboard? A full virtual reality rig? Or something in between? Whether you're new to flight sims or a seasoned pilot looking to upgrade your setup, this guide breaks down your options, from budget basics to full-on immersive cockpits. Today I'll be talking about flight simulations in general, not just DCS, so keep that in mind. Let's dive in. First up, controls. How you fly your aircraft in a flight simulator dramatically affects your experience, and there's a surprising range of options. Let's start with the humble mouse and keyboard. It's affordable, it's accessible, and yes, it's possible to fly with it. I've seen players dogfight, drop bombs, and even land on aircraft carriers using just a keyboard and a mouse. Absolutely wild. But for most people, this setup is, let's say, challenging. Precision flying and immersion? Not great. Next, a joystick. This is where the magic starts. It's a big step up in both control and realism. You get better precision and tactile feedback, and many entry-level sticks are surprisingly affordable. That said, not all joysticks are created equal. Some lack enough buttons or axes for modern jets or helicopters, so you may find yourself reaching for the keyboard more often than you would like. Now, let's talk HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick. This is the gold standard for many sim pilots. Having dedicated throttle and stick controls means smoother maneuvers, faster reaction times, and just a more satisfying flying experience overall. Of course, it costs more and takes up more desk space, but the immersion boost? Totally worth it. And then, there are rudder pedals or anti-torque pedals if you mainly fly helicopters. Not mandatory, but once you try them, especially in helicopters or for crosswind landings, you won't want to go back. They are not cheap and you need floor space, but for realism, they are a game changer. Of course, controls are just one half of the story. The other is what you see and how you see it. Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, IL-2, DCS, and Falcon BMS all look amazing, but your visual setup can make or break that experience. A standard 2D monitor is how most of us start. It works, it's sharp, it's familiar. If you have already got a decent monitor, you're good to go. But field of view and situational awareness are limited, especially in dogfights or when flying choppers low and fast. Enter virtual reality. This is where immersion goes through the roof. You are inside the cockpit. You can lean, glance around, and feel the depth and distance in a way no monitor can match. But there is a catch. Actually several. First, VR headsets aren't cheap. Second, they need a seriously powerful PC. Third, some people, like me, can use them for long sessions. My face heats up, my eyes get tired, and after a couple of hours, I need a break. If you wear glasses, that's another challenge. VR is amazing, but it's not perfect for everyone. Speaking of power, let's talk PCs. Not all flight simulators are created equal performance-wise, but you can safely assume that most of them are demanding on your hardware. This isn't your average flight game. It's more like a virtual wind tunnel with wings. Minimum specs? A quad-core CPU, 16GB of RAM, and a GTX 1070? That'll get you flying, but you'll have to make a lot of compromises on settings. Recommended specs? A 6-core CPU like an i7, 32GB of RAM, and an RTX 2080 or 3070. That's a nice sweet spot for stable performance in 2D. Planning to go VR? You'll need to go all in. Think 8-core CPU, 64GB of RAM, and a GPU like RTX 4080 or better. Yes, that's a hefty investment. But so is aviation, virtual or real. You can fly with lower specs by turning everything to the lowest settings. But where's the fun in that? Visuals aren't everything, but they play a huge role in flight sims, and the more detail you can afford, the better the experience becomes. So realistically speaking, the absolute minimum for getting some consistent enjoyment out of modern flight simulators would be at least a 6-core CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, and an RTX 2080 GPU or better. Let's break it down and compare the main setup options to help you figure out what might work best for you. Starting with mouse and keyboard. It's definitely the cheapest and most accessible option. And yes, it can get you flying. But let's be honest, it's not great when it comes to control or precision. Most of the time, you'll be fighting your gear more than the enemy. A joystick is a big step up. It's still fairly affordable and it gives you a much more natural flying experience. Perfect for learning the ropes. And honestly, enough to have a lot of fun, especially with simpler aircraft. Then there is HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick. This is where things start to feel serious. You can get full control, way more immersion, and it's great for long sessions. It's more expensive, sure, and it takes up more desk space, but for most sim pilots, it's absolutely worth it. Now let's talk about visuals. A standard 2D monitor is what most people start with. It's simple, sharp, and it works. But the limited field of view can make things tricky, especially in dogfights or when flying low and fast. If your main setup is a 2D monitor, then a head tracker like TrackIR is almost essential. It lets you look around the cockpit just by turning your head slightly, and it makes a huge difference in situational awareness. If TrackIR is out of your budget, there are cheaper alternatives. You can use a regular webcam with free software like OpenTrack and AITrack. It's not quite as precise, but it works, and it's a lot more affordable. Finally, there's VR. This is where immersion goes off the charts. You're not just playing, you are inside the cockpit. You can glance around, sense depth, and really feel like you're flying. But there are trade-offs. VR headsets aren't cheap, they need a powerful PC, and for some people like me, they can get uncomfortable over long sessions. So while it's incredibly impressive, it's not for everyone. And then there is the ultimate setup, a full motion simulator. Yup, it'll cost you an arm and a leg. But if you can afford one without triggering a financial crisis, then hey, go for it. I've only tried it a couple of times, but wow. Just wow. Combine that with VR, and you've basically found the holy grail. That's all I can say about it. So, what's the best setup for fly sims? Well, if full immersion is what you're after, the gold standard is this: a HOTAS setup, rudder pedals, a VR headset, and a powerful PC to drive it all. That combo gives you the closest thing to actually sitting in a real fighter jet or a helicopter. You feel connected to the aircraft, the environment, and every little movement. But let's be honest, it's also the most expensive and physically demanding setup. Not everyone has the space, the budget, or the stomach for VR. Your mileage may vary. If you're thinking about VR, I always recommend trying it before you buy it. Borrow a headset if you can, or find a demo somewhere. I've seen a lot of people return theirs after just one weekend. Sometimes it just doesn't click. At the end of the day, the best setup is the one that fits you, your space, your budget, and how you like to fly. Here's my final advice. Get yourself a decent joystick or HOTAS that doesn't break the bank. Start flying. Then if you're hooked, upgrade your PC. And if you're really serious, consider VR once you know you're ready. Most importantly, don't overdo it from day one. If you have never played a fly sim before, start small. Try a demo or trial version. Borrow or buy an entry-level stick. See how you feel in the cockpit, then go from there. Because if you got the passion for flying, you're going to love this hobby. Whether it's a 737, a helicopter, a Viper, or a World War II warbird, fly sims let you live that dream right from your desk. Thanks for watching, and if you have other thoughts about the best way to enjoy fly sims, let us know down in the comments. And if you found this guide helpful, feel free to like and subscribe for more fly sim tips and reviews. Until next time, fly safe, and I'll see you in the skies.